Sup dogs, and welcome to the 11th devlog of
The Haunting of the Jill Wilson Family.
It's a horror game that takes inspiration from the many house haunting films from the late 2000s and into the 2010s. This game follows a Cambodian-American family that blends both cultures and explores the mixture of it, but that aside, the haunting takes the main stage of the show. Maisie, who is the daughter, had quite the disturbing night, but now it's the next morning and the start to a beautiful day. Sup dogs, it's August 9th at 10:20 a.m. on a Saturday. Having a bit of a late start, only because I tried recording a tutorial but it didn't go so well, so I'm going to try later again today. But anyway, there's a game to be made, and we're gonna get started. So the plan for today's devlog is actually a more chill devlog compared to the previous one. No major hauntings, but instead we are just setting some of the scenes. We are finally going to be playing as Mary, who is the mother of the family, and it's going to end with another dinner scene. There will be a couple of small hauntings to be had. It does all take place during the daytime, so I'm kind of intrigued by how this one will turn out, because in the previous day all the small hauntings occurred during the evening, but now it's during the daytime, and I'm wondering if it will be as impactful. That tends to be the thing with many things horror, is that all the haunting and scary stuff happens at night, but during the daytime you kind of just feel safe. And you know what, I think you can kind of say the same for this game, especially since previously we had an intense moment, there was a big scare, and now I need to relieve the tension a little bit. There will be one area of disturbance, and that will be with regards to a neighbor, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. For now, I am still setting all of the different events that you see, making sure that they're not running and that they don't have any old dialogue or whatever from the previous day. And then I'm going to change all the little interactions and dialogue that the player can have with Mary, and then there will also be a couple of tiny sequences that are just more like prizes for the player if they decide to explore as much as they want. Perhaps something I can add as an achievement, some sort of explorer-like thing, or always examining. That was me when I played RPG Maker horror games. I was always walking up to things, interacting with it, and be like, "Give me something new!" Instead, it would just be like, a pair of scissors, a portrait on the wall. Alright, that sounds like a plan. I think I can knock this out in about half an hour. Haven't had my morning coffee yet, and I could actually tell and show you why. Well, so, if you didn't know, I use Nespresso. Their capsules are fun, and some of them are pour over ice. Not to say that you have to drink it with ice, but it just tastes a lot better with ice. And pretty much ran out, and I was down to only 2 capsules left, both of which required ice. I ran out of ice. It is sad. So my coffee has been in the freezer for almost an hour now. Probably wondering what that fork is doing in there. I accidentally poured it into an insulator cup because I don't have many tall glasses, and I need a tall glass for that capsule. So the science here is that I use something that's highly thermoconductive, such as this fork, shove it down there, and hopefully, because the fork is cold up here, it will travel down and cool down the coffee on the inside. Science. But is it though? Because I've been waiting for a while. Anyway, let's do this. If you've seen my past devlogs, then you know that the key to added descriptions and commentary is to build some background and character with each of the family members. So far, we've seen Maisie, then her father Charlie, and now her mother Mary.
But while doing this, I realized that there's a bit of fun that can be had. Maisie would give the first description, then Charlie could tease and add a bit to it, and now with Mary, I can close some of the things that Charlie had teased. Maisie, being so young at the time, only remembers it as a normal day at the park. Charlie, however, teases that it was a nice photo moments before a disaster. And now with Mary, I can tell the full story of that disaster, which also happens to include 2 references. The obvious one, of course, is the Birds horror movie. The other of which is a meme I saw one day of a little girl who grabbed a bird by the neck to take the food bag that the family was feeding it with. Anyway, these are the small treasures I want to give my explorative players. Now that I think about it, maybe I can add something where each family member can make progress towards something. Ooh, yeah. Gotta write that down.
Burrito.
So I, like most other weebs, have been both watching and playing this game, or anime. It is so addicting.
Moment of truth.
Alright, back from my lunch break, and in that past hour, I'd say I only finished about a quarter of what I was doing. It's kind of crazy to think about. It's like the task is so mundane and simple, yet at the same time, very time consuming. Just adding descriptions and bits and pieces of commentary here and there. I think partially has to do with trying to think of what to add, but at the same time, there's a lot of maps and a lot of interactions, so that's probably it too. So I probably won't be able to work on what I wanted to show you guys until tomorrow or next week, but I'm gonna just keep chugging along. At some point I'm gonna record a tutorial, so yeah. Whatever that means. Alright, see you guys in the future. It's Saturday the next week at 8 a.m., August 16th to be precise, and I'm at an early start today. Woke up at like 4:30 in the morning, just couldn't fall back to sleep, so by 6 o'clock I decided to get out of bed, go to the gym, start my morning, and here we are. Though at the same time I also went to bed at like 9:30 p.m. last night, so I'm starting to feel like an old man. Alright, so for today, we will be creating The Neighbor. And as much as there is to say about The Neighbor, it's actually a pretty unique scene. And I want to explain it, but at the same time, I don't think I can explain it in this video, just because the spoilers. So, what I'm going to do is get started working on them, talk about a little bit of something else, like how I decide upon the design, but then later on, maybe when this game comes out, I will talk about it then. In the back of my head, I've been thinking about starting a new series called Game Dev Dissect, where I just sit down, talk about the scene, kind of similar to that dinner scene, but a elaborate a little bit more, and just the directive choices and how I go about choosing everything. I just think it would be fun. A different look at game dev that isn't just straight up tutorials. Basically, creator commentary. That's about it. Alright, with that said, let's get into it.
I have a very simple process when it comes to designing characters. Google image search. I've said this several times throughout the series, but man, my search history is kind of weird. Thankfully, this one's a bit more tame. American men hairstyles in the 60s/70s, followed by American men fashion in the 60s/70s. My experience in Google search is showing here though. I'm thinking back to when I first made Caster's Trap, and if it was me at that time, I totally would have put something in like sexy men in the 70s. Oh boy, that would have been a bit questionable. Just me exploring my characters for the game. Okay, so I actually wanted this neighbor dude to look a little bit douchey, so I added a mustache. No offense to all mustache watchers out there. It just gives a very particular strong look in this pixelated RPG Maker world, especially with the clothing that he's wearing. Anyway, that aside, as you're seeing on screen, I decided to use one of my existing characters as a template. I even made sure to use the same color tones, this way the game doesn't get too visually busy. I find that this keeps the game looking consistent, and as someone who isn't necessarily a great artist, it at the very least keeps the player immersed because of that single theme. Alright, update. Just look how douchey I made this dude look. I think it looks great. It's hilarious. It's so funny. Alright, anyway, the question I have here for myself is, do I bother making a face portrait? Because on one hand, he's just a very, very small side character. Or not major. Honestly, you're likely not to see him again. Although, no confirmation, because that would be spoiler stuff. But anyway, I'm still trying to figure that part out. I want to say, nah, just forgo it. He's not worth the effort. And there's some irony in saying that, but you guys will see. I'm pretty much ready to start scripting this thing out, so... Alright, scene has been scripted, yet to have been tested. Sorry, you guys can't see it. But when you guys do, I hope it does drive you as mad as I wrote it. And I guess all sense of the word of mad. It could be madness, it could be mad, or whatever. It's a fun one. It's a fun one, to say the least. Anyway, with that said, it is 9:30 a.m. right now. I have a couple of things going on. My next plan is to test this out, make sure it is all good and transitions into the next scene smoothly. And then I'll probably eat an early lunch because I do have to head out at 11 a.m. For those of you guys who followed my previous vlogs, you know that I am a fairly big gamer in the world of TCG, most specifically One Piece. But I haven't been playing for the past couple of vlogs or the past couple of weeks, mainly because there's a ban list that's incoming. It's actually coming out on Wednesday, so that'll be really fun to see. But in the meantime, I have been playing a different card game called Grand Archive. And I did mention it before if you saw the vlog where I went to PAX. That one came out in like March-ish. But, check it out. This is Grand Archive, or at least the artwork and style for it. And pretty much it is kind of what it looks like. It's an anime-styled card game. Pretty much a card game made by weebs, for weebs. And even the company itself. I don't know if it shows it. Yes, it does. Weebs of the Shore! So a card game I kind of just gotten into. We actually started a little bit after PAX, but we never really got into it until this past month. And it's really fun, but also much more complicated than One Piece.
there's a lot of nuances that you kind of gotta learn just by playing. I say it's most similar to Magic the Gathering if the format was just Commander and basically your Planeswalker is your leader card. So like this character has a health point and that's pretty much who my quote-unquote leader is. But the unique thing, as you can see up top, is that they have levels and they basically level up and get stronger. So it's a very neat card game. Very fun. Kind of expensive, unfortunately, but very fun. There are some very, very fancy cards. Unfortunately, I don't have any to show you guys because I just haven't been that lucky. But there is a pretty big tournament incoming. It's called Ascent Boston, and it's similar to that of a regionals, but it's considered a step above a regionals for this card game, Grand Archive. So I am going with a couple of my friends. We're going to do absolutely terrible because we just don't know all of the mechanics and nuances for this game yet, but we just love TCGs and it's just overall a good time. But I'll show you guys some of the cool things there, and hopefully I'll spot some really, really cool cards to show off to you guys. Or of course you could just look it up. Anyway, there's a super newbie intro level tournament called a starter deck tournament at 11. So I'm gonna go head on over there and see what I can do. There's also supposedly a bunch of raffles, so cross your fingers for me. Granted, you guys will see in the next clip if I won anything, but cross your fingers for me. Keep those fingers crossed. Don't uncross it until we get to that next clip. Trust me, this is how I win. Anyway, with that said, I think that's pretty much it for today, and I guess we'll see how it goes. Sup dogs, it's roughly 10 o'clock the next day, and I got so much swag to show you guys from yesterday's tournament. I got a free binder. Pretty much anyone who was new to the game was given a free binder. Playmat. This one was raffled off. That's what it is and what it looks like if I were to unravel it. But of course my arms is just a little bit full, so. And I even got another playmat. And if you don't know what playmats are, they're pretty equivalent to a desk mat, but meant to keep your cards clean as you play on the table. And this one I will unravel just because it doesn't have a picture to show you. And well, sorry guys. Okay, you guys are gonna have to look from up there, okay? Okay. This one was a free mat. Pretty much anyone who wanted to grab one got to grab one. Just because they had so much stuff. It's a really cool game. A little bit small in its community at the moment, but I think it is growing a lot this year. It is a 3-year-old game, just to give some context there. You guys like hanging out over there? I think you're pretty chill. Anyway, I'll continue it like this for now. So, for my deck, it was a starter deck tournament, which means you grabbed any starter deck you wanted, and that's the deck you rolled with. And this was my leader, or my champion, as they call it in this game. We played 3 games. There was 20 people in total. I won 2, lost the last one in a mirror, which means they used the exact same deck. If any of you guys are familiar with trading card games, then it is a best 2 out of 3 format, and there is side decking involved, and one round is roughly an hour long, whereas One Piece was just best of 1, so of course no side decking, and roughly 30 minutes per round. If any of you guys are in Massachusetts, then do check out Webway Games in Marlborough. They were the one who hosted the event. It was absolutely bomb. Everyone got something for free. They won't be doing it every week, but you do get tons of stuff whenever you go to Locos. Alright, with all my nerdy TCG side hobbies aside, let's dive back into the game dev. I, for the most part, completed it, and there is the one scene I want to show you. It's absolutely hilarious with the neighbor. Okay, here we go. The scene just opens up to the neighbor. And he's just posed standing like that, waiting for you to come out. Such a douche. God damn it, neighbor. God damn it. I hate you. Plan for today is I have still yet to complete the scene in terms of fully testing it out, tweaking all the timing and making it look chef kiss superb. And then after that, I do have to test out everything, interacting with all the objects, all the little small scenes and clips between Tommy and Maisie with Mary, and make sure that they all work out, all go smooth. And then, finally, I can start doing the next step, which is Mary having her own list of chores to do. We have seen this before, first with Maisie and setting up the tea party, and then we also saw it in the demo, if you either played it or saw the devlogs for it. And there is something I do want to talk about it, and it has to do with repetition for pretty much any game mechanic whatsoever. But I'll let voiceover TheOdie take it from there. Right now, I got lots to do, and it probably won't be until next week that I start working on that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's the plan. Let's do it. We got this, guys. Shall we do it again? Alright, hands in. And go! You guys are so lame.
Grand Archive Ascent Boston came, and it was a fantastic event. As I mentioned, we were complete noobs, so our scores weren't exactly the best. We definitely didn't know all the small interactions or cards in the format. It was 9 long rounds that had us start at 8 in the morning and ending around 8 at night, with a 1-hour lunch break at 2. Competition was tough, and half of the battle was staying resilient towards the end of the day, but the community was fantastic and very forgiving to noobs. Although I was tired long before the end of the day, I still had a really good time. It's not often for TCG events to come to Boston, so my fingers are crossed. I'm really hoping they come again next year.
Hey guys, so it's been like 2 weeks since I last vlogged. It's actually Labor Day. I got the day off from work so I can do a little bit of game dev before I start doing my errands. Things kind of just got busy. Ascent Boston for Grand Archive happened, and you guys heard the story there. And then this past weekend, I was actually at a friend's bachelor's party. Got a lake house, and it was really fun. I caught a fish. I was injured. I hurted my thumb. My friend threw a drink at me, and I didn't do a good job catching it either, so I injured my thumb. So what happened was that my friend in the beach just behind me, he changed out all of the bait for me, and the person who took a picture of us did all of the rowing. And then the groom was the person who finished up the catch for me to use a net to fish out, to grab the fish and unhooked it and everything. So it's like I did 10% of the work, but I get 100% of the claim. But anyway, his wedding is in a few weeks, so congratulations to him and his lovely wife. They've been together for a very, very long time, so this was a long time coming, and things were only interrupted because of COVID. Would have happened a lot earlier, but hey, it happened. Granted, I'm one to speak. Anyway, all that aside, let's get back into the game dev, because we have some exciting news to talk about. Okay, not really. I've only been poking at it a little bit at a time. I managed to complete all of the chores. I haven't fully tested all of the chores. I think I'm just gotta test the last one. It's 3 chores total. 2 of the 3 has been tested. The last one to go. And then once that is good, I can finally finish up the small sequence. Actually, no, because I wanted to add little small hauntings as things occurred. There is a haunting in one of the chores. I won't spoil it too much, but I think it'll be fun. Or maybe I should. You know what? I will show it. I think it'll make this video a little bit more exciting. And while I do that, I will also talk a little bit about repetition in video games, as I kind of A lord? A loon? What's that word? Teased earlier in this video. Alright, let's do it.
The Chores objective list isn't the first time we've seen this game. Previously, we've seen it with Maisie when she had to set up a tea party. So, in other words, this is the second we've seen this feature, aka a repetition. In my opinion, when it comes to repetition in video games, I feel as though it can inhibit one of two responses. Either an, ooh, this again type of response, or an, oh, this again type of response. Obviously, one sounds a bit more excited while the other a lot less. And I feel like the more you do it, the faster it turns from an ooh to an oh. I can go into a whole discussion about this, but honestly, that'd be better as a solo video than a small segment of this one. The point I'm trying to get across is that having new features is a part of exploration. If your player is seeing a mechanic for the second time, then it's essentially asking your player to replay a segment of your game. Now, if your game was based on a single mechanic, then of course that's a different story. Five Nights at Freddy's is a great example of that. It continues to invite new experiences to the player through increasing difficulty, introducing new characters, adding new playstyles to the existing mechanic, and so on. So when it comes to making puzzles or adding smaller features to your game, my rule of thumb is to do it no more than twice, and a third time if it's essential to your story. Also, if you do add it a second time, then try to add a little bit more to it. This way it doesn't feel completely repetitive and it gives your player a new experience with each time you do it.
So, what'd you guys think? Admittingly, it's not as big as the haunting in the previous video, but of course that was more so meant to be a huge and strong moment for the game, whereas this one is meant to be a little bit of a teaser, I guess I could say. Not to spoil so much. Anyway, this video has gone on quite long enough. There's definitely a lot more I gotta do for this small segment. There's still the hauntings to create and a bunch of things to test to make sure that it flows right. But I think you guys kind of got the point, seen enough of it, and I'll just do all that off camera. And then next video, we will move on to the dinner scene of the next night. And perhaps even the next major haunting. Of course, we will see. Right now it is September 1st. I want to do something exciting for the month of October. Kind of bring back Spooktoberfest, but not exactly. I just want to have some fun for it. And I got an idea going in my head. Not exactly sure if I'll do it yet, but if I do, then I will be working on those videos for the month of September so that we got something releasing every week in October, which could mean a break in September, so we'll see. If anything, I'll be sure to post it on the discussions and on my YouTube channel, so you'll see that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like would be very much appreciated. And please visit the Steam game page. Support by hitting that wish list. It would help a huge ton. And if you have some friends who are also interested in pixelated horror games, then share it their way. That would also be incredibly helpful. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, oh yeah, don't forget, I also have a website. Try my best to advertise that a little bit more. Alright, see you in the next one. Later.